have no idea what the fuck.
Welcome to another episode of I Have No Idea What the Fuck. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode, I guess, of this. So, essentially what we're going to talk about here today, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about simulation. You know, Elon Musk is saying that we're in a simulation, and there are all these videos. You know, I was watching a video earlier today saying, are we in a simulation? Are we real? Are we a simulation? Here's why that's bullshit. Here's some ideas to walk with, and I just free ball it every video I fucking do. So, you know, one day I will start to like actually structure my shits and actually have everything all set up and looking nice and pretty, and like you go to Japan and the toilet splashes warm water up your ass and makes you feel good and all that. One day I'll do all that, but right now I'm just free balling it. So let me first present what the topic actually is. So the topic actually is that now that, you know, our technology is getting to a point where we're literally able to, you know, we create video games and simulations of cities, of interactions, of sex, of eating. We're getting to that point where we're really able to, you know, we're not too far off from really being able to simulate some very mundane human experiences, which is one of the ways to measure how advanced the technology is. If it makes the mundane, if you don't question the mundane experience in the simulation, then, you know, it's pretty damn good. But essentially, we're getting to that level of technology. So now we're beginning to question, are we already in a simulation? Because our technology is getting to that point. Are we actually real people, or are we just simulations that seem to be self-conscious and all that? These are great questions. Great questions. Really amazing or scary, depending on how you're looking at it. I mean, a lot of it is amazing and scary. AI is amazing and scary. Gene technology is amazing and scary. Space travel, multi-planetary civilizations, meeting ETs, all amazing and scary at the same time. And we're at that crux point right now at the top of the 21st century, thinking about all these things, and actually are on the verge of actually being able to do all these things. Maybe not everything this century, but definitely within the next few centuries, we'll definitely be embarking upon all of these, in some form or another. But the problem with the simulation thing is that a simulation assumes that there is a real version of reality out there somewhere. And to us, like, how would you, like, then basically what we have to do is we have to establish, well, what is reality? Or even more fundamental and more compromising to the bullshit is, what is real? Not what is real, like, is this real or is that real? It's like, no, what actually is the nature of being real? Like, what is that? You know, many people who, you know, that's not their interest to question beyond what's in front of them, and that's great, that's fine. Real is basically something that you can directly interact with. But if you bring up the issue of a simulation that can simulate your senses, that can simulate emotion, that can let's just say it can simulate everything that's in your basic experience right now, then what actually constitutes real? And that's what Morpheus was asking in The Matrix. He says, what is real? How do you define real? That's what he was saying. So it kind of throws the simulation argument out of the window. It's like, if there's no such thing as actually real, because the beings that are simulating, let's say this is a simulation. Before I get on to the next point, let's say this is a simulation, right? Who's to say that those that simulated this reality are not themselves in a simulation? And we could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Penrose steps, bitch. We could do all that. So it becomes kind of moot to even discuss as to whether we're actually in a simulation or not. Because my question always is, first off, a simulation of what? A simulation of what? Which kind of, again, goes right back around and says, and basically is saying, that there is some kind of base reality. And the fact of the matter is our human experience is limited, and we would be projecting our own collective subjective experience onto any simulation. So the nature of what it is to be human may not translate to base reality, what Elon Musk calls base reality. However, we're looking at this, we're like, a simulation of what? What if that's a simulation? And then what if that's a simulation? And then what if that's a simulation? What is this a simulation of? How could this be fake or real? Like, if I can't tell the difference, then, like, what's real and what's fake? And as an aside, as a digression, this is why probably the greatest wisdom to discern what's real and what's not is to listen to the spiritual masters who say, what's within is real. The inner is real. That which is observing everything is real, not that which is being observed. And that's just digression. I actually wanted to kind of focus more on the question. I usually jump right to spiritual topics, but I really wanted to stay in this particular on this particular topic. So that's essentially the problem with the simulation musing, or the simulation issue. The big issue is that, well, first we have to define what base reality is. And any attempt to define base reality, no matter how far away it is from typical human experience, or how close it is to typical human experience, there's no way to determine whether it's a simulation or whether it's real. There's no way to determine that. There's no way. Literally no way. Even if you were to experience an experience so alien, let's say this were a simulation, this was a simulation, excuse me, and you popped out of it, right? And when you popped out of that simulation, it was nothing like human experience. It was so completely bizarre and alien and abstract, or whatever, completely different from a typical human experience. But there's nothing to determine that experience is base reality. There's nothing to determine that that's base reality. So again, that's the problem with the simulation issue. And that's it. Comment below if you have any ideas surrounding the simulation topic. Are we living in a simulation? Are we not living in a simulation? What is your proof? What's the lack of proof for whatever you're arguing against? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I don't give a fuck. Just be respectful. No need to be, chewing each other out in the comments. Here I am acting like I'm a big shot, like I'm a big fucking video dude, where it gets like thousands of hits and shit. I don't get thousands of hits yet, but I'm just putting this shit out there for people to think about. And much love to you guys, and